I'm here with the amazing Meagan. How you going?
Hi, I'm doing well.
So Meagan, let me introduce you. You're an Australian dual Olympic team member. You're also a dual Commonwealth Games gold medalist. You've always loved swimming and had a passion for sport. And now, after retiring from competitive swimming, you're also now a swim teacher, a PT, an F45 trainer, and you've been part of the Swimming Australia media team recently, and you're a motivational speaker. So much going on. Meagan,
Can't
tell us a
wait.
little bit about that journey to becoming an Olympic swimmer.
Yeah, it's a pretty long journey actually. To be honest, I didn't start swimming till I was about 12 years old. So I was a bit of a late bloomer, as they like to say. But yeah, I fell in love with swimming. I'm the youngest of four, so actually got dragged around the pool when I was growing up. And yeah, I started training properly when I was 12 because I had to do nippers. And then I think each year I just got better and better. And I think I was about 15 or 16 and I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Like this sport goes to the Olympics. I reckon I could probably make this team. Just had a big goal of representing Australia, and I was fortunate enough, I got to do it twice at the Olympic level and a few times in between. So um, it's just became the dream, which became a reality. So I was super lucky.
That's awesome. So it just like gradually developed, or did you see like the 2000 Olympics and went, I want to be there, or what inspired you?
To be honest, I can't even remember the exact moment, but I was my dad passed away when I was 3 years old, and he actually represented Australia at the 1972 Munich Games. So that was, that's always like such a small part that always played in the back of my head that it'd be pretty cool if I could follow in his footsteps, so to speak. So that was, that little motivational kind of thing I needed to make sure it was, exactly what I wanted to do. But I do remember watching the Sydney Olympic Games and being a home Olympics. It was very, very cool. But yeah, I think probably my dad probably inspired me the most. He did it in 1972, so I was like, okay, let's see what all the fuss is about. Let's see if I can make it.
And also, when it comes to making com games and Olympics, what kind of pressures put on you as a swimmer and as an athlete to get to that level?
The biggest pressure comes from yourself, because only you know how much effort and how much time and how many laps you've put into training, that how much you've done. So you want it so bad that pressure is usually the expectation of yourself, the expectation of doing a personal best, the expectation of winning a gold medal. So I think the biggest pressure is yourself. And I think I say to young athletes along the way that if you're swimming for your parents, if you're swimming for your coach, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You got to want it, and you got to be swimming for yourself because you love it, and you're having fun.
And I was going to ask as well, what about the relationship you had with your coach?
Yeah, that's a big one for me. I think I was only 19 when I moved to Brizzy. So no, I was 18 actually. I moved to Brisbane to Michael Bowl at St. Peter's Western, and I hadn't really made a major Australian team. So I was chasing my first Australian team, and I was chasing my first Olympics. And when you get that connection between an athlete and a coach, I think when it's good, as in like when you really connect and you can kind of bounce off each other, I think it's really special. And for me, I was lucky enough that I got that with Bowley in Brisbane. And I've been retired since 2015, and here we are. So we still catch up probably once a week and have coffee and have brekkies. So he's been a huge a huge part of my life, not only swimming, but that transition and just being a bit of a father figure, I think, for my life as well, which is, I think that it's probably, the one of the most important key factors in an athlete coach environment.
That's incredible. That's very, very special. And
Yeah,
so
he's a bit special.
Hope he's listening.
Shout out, Michael Bowl.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, when you get to the actual games, how do you, celebrate your successes or commiserate your losses? And is a medal the only thing that's considered success?
No, I think as an athlete, you go there to win. You go there to you go there to do your best. The personal best time is, and if that's a medal, awesome. If it's not, for me, it was always going there to swim a personal best time. And if that got me into the final, awesome. If it didn't, I can say, you know, that was the best. I just wasn't good enough. But I think the more you focus on like the process, the outcome looks after itself. So the more you can process on how you're going to do it, I think the outcome will totally look after itself. So if you're too focused on, you know, I want to win 2 Olympic gold medals, or and not go through the steps to get you there, I think that's where you can kind of get yourself in a little bit of trouble. But celebrating and commiserating are two very, very different things. But I think, you know, when you celebrate, that it depends. I'm a person that wants to celebrate with the people that helped me get there. So because you work so hard that, you know, you want to be able to celebrate with your teammates, you want to be able to celebrate, let your hair down, and, you know, be in a safe environment as well. So yeah, the parties are pretty they do live up to expectations, and they're pretty wild, but
I can imagine
pretty well behaved, I'm sure.
Good memories. Oh, absolutely. But then back to the more serious stuff. What kind of support is provided to you as an athlete? I know you've got a whole team, and I can imagine that, you know, a sports psychologist would be a really important one.
And of so many areas that were very well looked after, whether it's physio, massage, psychology, psychiatrist, anything you kind of want was always on offer. You always just have to ask. You know, I think probably if you're looking at sport in general, I think there probably could be a little bit more between retirement and or the end of people's careers, and then going into, you know, that transition into more serious kind of life. I know
I was going to ask you, how did your transition go, you know, finishing competitive swimming and then, you know, life after swimming?
Yeah, so, you know, I retired in 2015, and I think maybe in the past year is probably the only time that I felt super comfortable in who I am, apart from being Meagan neighbour swimmer. So it's taken me, you know, 5 years to fall back in love with the sport. I stopped in 2015, and I took 2 years off doing nothing, literally traveling, doing everything what I wasn't supposed to do. And, you know, I felt super lost. And there was I felt like sometimes it's super hard because, you know, people care about you, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's more a journey about yourself, trying to figure out who you are away from being an athlete, and what you're going to do next, whether it's, you know, whether you're studying full-time, whether you're working full-time. So I found my transition super hard. I'm not going to lie. There was some pretty crappy days, but I think it taught me a lot about who's really there for you in your inner circle, and a lot about myself, who I am, you know, confidence wise, and who I am apart from being a swimmer.
Yeah. That's good. Because you're also an ambassador for the Black Line program. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we did a thing probably 2018. It was probably 2017, 2018 was where it was really building up. And it's a program to support young men and women, or young girls and boys, going through, you know, different stages of swimming, and, you know, growing up, and going through the different stages as life for a girl is super hard when you're swimming. So being able to, you know, go out to different communities, go out to different swimming clubs, and try and explain that, you know, everyone goes through that, and, you know, being nervous or you know, or anything like that, we try and explain to young girls, and you know, how to go through that, and maybe different strategies on how to get through those tough times, especially as a teenager through swimming. So I really enjoyed that, and I really I'm really passionate about trying to keep young teenage girls in the sport.
That's great. And I really like how the black line actually represents that black line that all swimmers follow on the bottom of the pool. Well, yeah, you've seen the team qualify at the trials, and you know some of them personally. How have their journeys been with this delayed 2020 Tokyo Olympics? How are they feeling going into it, do you think?
Yeah, I think you can kind of look at it a couple of different ways. So there's a couple of different athletes, probably the more older athletes, that it's affected them a little bit more because it might be their last Olympics and they've got it, you know, delayed by a year. And then you got to look at it as the younger athletes that got another year as an opportunity to make the team. So the people that might not have been in the picture a year ago are now, you know, bang in the picture. So they're, you know, matured a little bit more in a year. They've, you know, got a little bit more training under their belt. So few different stories in there, and if you had an injury last year, you had a whole another year to try and get that better. So I'm really excited about the women's team, especially because, we saw a world record by Kaylee McEwen. She's only 19. And then you've got people like Emily Seebohm, Kate Campbell, who are making their 4th Olympics. So there's, a big depth in there, which is really good. And the depth in Adelaide that I saw at the Olympic trials is just, super, super exciting for Australian swimming. And I'm really pumped to see them.
That's awesome. And so you've just mentioned a few of the girls to watch out for. Anyone else on the team that we should keep our eyes glued to the TV to check out?
Yeah, I think Kelly McEwen for sure, but I think in the men's team you've got Kyle Chalmers, who's the only one to back up in the individual. He's trying to go, back to back at individual Olympic gold medals, which is, super special. And you've got Olympic rookies. You've got Elijah Winnington. He's going to be in the 200, the 400 freestyle. So he's a really young guy coming through, and I think that 4x2 relay will be really, really special. And those 200 and 400 meter men to watch, as well as Kyle Chalmers, obviously, in that 100 meter freestyle. So there's a bit of, give and take in the men's and women's team. But I think our swim team is going to surprise, I think, the rest of the world. So I'm excited.
Awesome. I can't wait either. I'll keep my eyes out for them. And what I love the most is just your passion when you're speaking about it. Thanks so much for sharing your journey and your insight. And we'll catch you next time. We'll look forward to seeing everyone at the Olympics.
Yeah, we do. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks.